Welcome to 2018. This is Moving Forward with Gayle Suzanne, and this is a show about moving forward, pressing through, being your best self, just taking your life into your own hands and making changes that'll make you feel wonderful about your life and feel hopeful and better. We have a nice little set today. I wanted to kind of like be comfortable in my jeans and my slippers and just go over some things for the new year. This episode is entitled New Year, Better You. And I just want to go over a few things that I think are important to open up the year with a fresh new perspective. This year for me was an extremely challenging year. It was a wonderful year, but it was a really sad year. My dad passed away in September, and it really was a difficult thing to go through. I was very, very close to him, and it made me think a lot about the new year, about my life, about the lives of people around me, my family, my friends. And I just want to take today's show to just go over some things for the new year to help you look at things in a different way, maybe do things a little differently, not hard things, they're all common sense, but just things that you may not think of on a daily basis, things that you're not aware of, that you might be doing to make your life not as successful as it could be. So I'm just going to go over a few things just to be aware of, just to think about, to appreciate about yourself, and ways that you can move forward in an easier way so that it's not so overwhelming, it's not so challenging. And I think that's the biggest thing. A lot of us are stuck where we are, either because of fear, either because of perfection issues, because of fear of failure, fear of success, so many different things that keep us stuck right where we are. And you know, years go by like that. I can't believe I've been on this show for a whole year. It just flies. And I like to reflect back on my year, the past year. So I have my little pad and my paper. I have my phone here and a little cup of water, and I'm nice and snuggy and comfortable. And I do this at home, usually once or twice a year, where I'm, well, more so than that, where I'm nice and snuggy at home, but where I reflect on things. And for the new year, what I really want is for me not to be afraid of so many things, for me not to hold myself back from things that I really, really want. Over the past year, I had goals that I may not have succeeded in my goals. I may have done a little bit. Some other goals, I may have done them fabulously, and I have to recognize those things. And I have to recognize, especially the goals that I had that I actually did, and to validate those. So if you have a piece of paper and a pencil, find a nice little cozy spot and just reflect back on the year. What are some of the things that you endured, that you got through, and you're stronger and you're better off, and you did that thing, you pressed through that thing that you were afraid of, that you had all this fear inside and you're like, I can't do it, and then the universe, something happened, and that you actually had to press through it. You had no choice, and you made it through on the other side. And give yourself credit for those things. I mean, I can think back to my past year, and the things that I did were, let's say, around my dad, that I made a commitment that I was going to have dinner with him every Tuesday night. Once we found out he had cancer, I was like, okay, I have got to make this commitment. I know I'll go through rainstorms and snowstorms and things like that, but I really wanted to do that, and I did it. And I am so grateful that I did do that, because I had time with him, listening to his stories, hearing all about his growing up, and just spending time with family. And then my stepbrother and my sister would come. And it was a wonderful thing to do inside a time that was really challenging and really hard. So reaching out to other people, I think, is a huge thing for the new year, for every year. That made me feel better to reach out to my dad and my family. And I know it made him feel better because he was looking forward to the Tuesday nights. Whether he felt sick, whether he was okay, I knew he looked forward to those Tuesday nights. You know, I look back over the year and I have to tell myself, okay, you are worthy of good things happening to you. And I know that a lot of people out there are like, oh, I'm hopeless for my life and I don't think anything good is going to happen in 2018. But just tell yourself, write it down. Things are going to happen for me in 2018 that are good. That I'm going to tell myself and praise myself for the good things that I do during the year. Because so often, more so than not, we criticize ourselves for not getting to the point where we want to be, rather than giving ourselves a little credit for taking little steps out and doing something about it. So give yourself praise, recognize the efforts that you have made over the past year. And you might want to even start from now going forward when something like that does happen, when you have made a couple steps forward, that you just jot them down on your iPad or a little notebook. And then at the end of the year, you can reflect on all of the things that you did do. You know, the years go by fast. We all know that. But just the little things that you have done, recognize them and give yourself some praise. And it's always nice to do that when you're nice and comfortable on the couch. So moving forward, living a life of integrity could be something that you could incorporate into your life. And so many people live with integrity on a day-to-day basis. But what I mean by that is doing the right thing even when no one is looking. You know, if you're in Walmart and you have a pair of slippers that you don't want, you know, don't put them back in with the lettuce when you're putting them away. Go back and put them in the spot that they're meant to be in. Integrity is doing what you say you're going to do. If you are promising that you're going to go to an event or go to someone's house and then you just don't show up, at least call beforehand. You know, live with integrity. That how would you want someone else to act if you were in their situation or if they were in your situation? You know, it's just little things like that. But sometimes, you know, people just go on, they'll get over it, but for yourself, I think you will feel better if you take steps to walk your walk, talk your talk, and do the right thing. Even if no one is around, it'll make you feel better about yourself. You'll feel more secure and just more positive about yourself and your life. Okay, doing what is right for you. Walk away from what doesn't feel right. This is so important. So many of my clients and people that I know stay stuck in the same place because they're afraid to walk away. Or they're afraid to listen to that voice inside of them that says, you know, this really isn't a good fit for you anymore. Sometimes we may start something, let's say like a job or something, and we may be in that job for 5 years, and it's great, it's great, it's great. And then all of a sudden, and we loved our job during that 5 years, and then all of a sudden things start happening that just don't feel right with us. Something with management or something with coworkers or whatever it may be. And it keeps on nagging at us that it's time to move on. Somebody got promoted in the position that we thought we should be in, or whatever it is, but something is not feeling right. And I'm not saying all the time, but there may be that time where it's time to walk away and to just say, you know what? I have to go with my gut, and this has not been feeling right for some time, and I think it's time for me to venture out and do something new. And even though the devil that we don't know is worse than the devil that we do know, or whatever that saying is, sometimes it's best. The universe or your gut or circumstances will happen in your life to have you uncomfortable, and so uncomfortable in that situation that your decision is kind of a no-brainer to move on. And I'm not just talking about work, I'm talking about relationships. If you're in a relationship that you don't know if you want to be with this person or not, and things are happening and it's just not right, and you don't feel right about it anymore, sometimes it's better to walk away than to stay in something that's making you miserable. It is hard to do that. It is hard to walk away. It is hard to just take a break from things, But sometimes we have to let go of what is in order to get to what's in front of us. And I think that's the hardest part of growing and changing and moving forward, is that we want to hold on to what's here and then take a little glimpse of what's in front of us before we let go of that and then go to something new, just to see if it's a right fit. Because if that thing's worse than this thing, I'm going to hold on to this thing. And sometimes we need to have the courage to say, you know what? I can't do this anymore. This is not comfortable for me anymore. Let go of this and then just have wonder about what's coming in the future. Because if one thing is a constant in life, that's change. Things are going to change. Things are from one day to the next day. Things change. Some days are happier. Some days you're in a storm, but the storm will pass. And then once the storm passes, the sun comes out again. And there's more hope and more just excitement for the future. So if something doesn't feel right in 2018, new year, better you, just maybe it might be time to let it go. And then just trust that whatever is meant to be is going to happen. I know it's very difficult to do. This year, I left my corporate job after being in corporate life for 32 years. That's a long time. And I left in November, the end of November, so it's been a couple of months. And I don't know what the future holds. I have no idea. I'm hoping the future holds something really great, but I had to let go of what was behind me because I knew it wasn't right for me anymore. And it is scary. It's very, very scary. I even have a tickle in my throat. It's so scary. But I'm going to take day to day. I'm going to do the best I can. I'm going to live with integrity and see where it takes me. If I find out in a month or two that it's not right, then something else will come up, or I have to go after that other thing. Life is scary, but sometimes that risk, everything will align in your life to have you take that risk. And I feel at that moment, that was my time to take a risk. So just think about it. Sometimes you need to walk away. It's if you don't walk away from certain things, you'll be in the same situation for 30 years. Excuse me. Sometimes we need to venture out on our own. A lot of things that stop us from doing things is if a friend of ours is not doing it, or we don't have a neighbor to do it with. It's best sometimes to just say, I want to do it, I'm going to do it by myself. I'm just going to do it by myself. And that way you'll stretch yourself. You'll meet more people because you'll be forced to talk to strangers. If you go with a friend, you're going to be talking to the friend the whole weekend. Let's say you go to a workshop or a retreat. When you go by yourself, you're forced to talk to other people. So try it. This year, you want to do something. If other people don't want to do it, okay, they don't want to do it. Do it on your own. Do it on your own. The best things in my life have happened when I have been scared to death, and I did it anyway on my own. And I've met friends for life doing things like that. It's amazing how things work. And I think it's because I venture out a little bit more, I get a little bit more out of my comfort zone, and I meet people that I never would have met had I brought a friend, because I would have been hanging out with a friend. Try something little. Try something little. If it's a meetup that you want to do this year, you want to go to a meetup on how to go hunting or whatever kind of, there's a million kind of meetups out there. Or just go to a workshop, or go to a dance class, or making a Italian meal class in a adult education class. You don't need to have a friend go. Go by yourself, and then force yourself to say, hello, my name is blah, blah, blah. Where are you from? Why are you taking this class? You never know. That person may know somebody else who might be looking for a person just like you for a job, or may have a brother-in-law to set you up with. You just never know. So venturing out and being open. Let's do that. New you, better you in 2018. Be open. Try things yourself. I remember one woman I spoke to, she read my book, and she said, your book changed my life, because it was talking a lot about, doing things and not being afraid, just pressing through. And she was probably in her 60s, and she said to me, you know what, I took your advice in your book. And she says, I have been wanting to go to Napa Valley, California, wine country, since I was in my early 20s. And she had to be 60, you know, mid 60s. And she's like, I finally did it. She goes, no one wanted to come with me. People didn't have the money. They couldn't get vacation, blah, blah. She said, but I booked that trip. And she went for 10 days, and she's like, it was the most marvelous trip of her life. She met so many wonderful people. She's pen pals with them now. And she's like, I never would have done it had I not felt that push and that courage. Like, if someone else can do it, I can do it. Which to me, I just, you know, those little things. And that's a kind of a big thing going all the way across country. But sometimes it can be a little thing, like just like going to that cooking class or whatever, just a 2-hour thing up the street at a nightlife. It could, you know, open you up to new things. So, you know, being open, being excited, because there is a big, huge world out there. And there's so many things to do, and there's so many things to get excited about. And to live your best life, sometimes you got to experience those things. I know it's been cold out, and it's so great to like sitting on the couch and watching TV all day, but doing that every single day, day in and day out, day in and day out, day in and day out, that leads kind of, you know, what are you living? Like, how are you living? Is that doing the best that you possibly can do? And if you want to get out there and experience wonderful things, sometimes you just got to be open and just do it, and do it on your own. Instead of quitting something, try small steps. And I know I've talked about this before. I think it was last year's show on reaching your goals. But I think this one is a tough one, because people get so overwhelmed with things, and I know I do too. That, you know, one of the things that I shared last year was, one of my goals was, you know, gotta lose weight, gotta lose weight. Yes, I went to the gym, and, you know, it's like every other thing. I went for 4 months, and then I stopped because it got hot out, or whatever excuse I gave myself. So this year I'm gonna try a little bit differently, try it a little bit different, and think, okay, what are the small things that I actually can do to reach my end goal? But the small things that aren't gonna just like kill me right now, or like, you know, so I don't go from eating whatever I'm eating to eating lettuce and celery all day long, or killing myself at the gym going 5 days a week. So the gym is still on my radar, that I can go a couple of days a week, and I will do that. But some of the other things is, what is something small that's not good for me that I eat that I can just eliminate? That won't make me terribly uncomfortable, that won't, you know, something small. Maybe I can pick 3 foods that I have eaten that I don't eat maybe all that much, or I eat just because I'm bored, or just because it's in the cabinet that I buy it. So one of the things, I'm like, well, I can not eat fried foods anymore. Fried foods, I can eliminate that, no problem, because it's really not that great for you. So I don't have to have French fries. I can have a salad. I can have coleslaw if I'm going out somewhere and they have that with a sandwich. So that's one thing I could do. I could eliminate chips, because I'm not really a big chip person, and I can eliminate ice cream, because I'm really not a big ice cream person. So if you pick 3 tiny things that you want to eliminate, so it's not like, oh, I dread this whole thing. You know, I dread this whole diet thing, because for me, that's a big part of it, like dreading things. So picking 3 tiny little things to help you with your goals. If you're single and you want to meet somebody, how about 3 little things when you're out and about? Just if there is somebody that looks cute next to you or whatever, if you're sitting at a bar or you're sitting at a restaurant waiting for food, you can say hello to the person. You could say, hey, how you doing? That's a small little thing. It's not asking for a date. It's becoming comfortable talking to other single people. Or go to a meetup, or go to an activity that you might not have gone to, where like other single people might go. Like if you're a woman and you want to possibly meet a man, I mean, go to Home Depot. There are so many men there, and it's like kind of ridiculous, but it's just, you know, get comfortable talking to them. Instead of sending somebody out to go and get, a plate for a switch plate or a new light, go yourself and go talk to people. And just, I think that's like such a big thing, that people don't want to talk to people that they don't know, and it holds people back. But I think maybe this new year, just say, hi, how you doing? Can you help me with this? And then try to start up a conversation. If you want to save money, I heard this wonderful little thing. Every time you get a $5 bill in change, put the $5 bill aside. Or if you can't do that, put a $1 bill aside every time you get ones. Small little changes. Dump all your change in a drawer. All your, quarters, dimes, and nickels. And at the end of a month, see how much money you have in there. Whatever money you have, throw it in the bank. Don't spend it. There's so many little ways. And I think if we write down 3 tiny ways to help us with these things, that, we get those 3 things underway, we're doing it, and then maybe in a couple of months we can add 3 more things. And then add 3 more little things. One of my goals this year is to learn how to do online classes. And I'm scared to death of it. I don't know why. The computer scared, whatever it is, it scares me. So basically, what I need to do is my first 3 steps. And the first 3 steps is, Google a place where I can, find a good program that does online classes. And I found Teachable, because I already did my 1 step. And the next step maybe is asking somebody for help. My niece is a whiz at computers. So I can just send her a text, hi honey, can you come help me with, doing this or starting it? Because once I start it and I learn that it's not like, rocket science, then I can do it. It's just my fear of doing it because I've never done it before. So these small steps. So if I ask her, she comes over, she reads through it. Oh, Auntie, you can do it this way, this way, this way. She shows it to me. Then I can do it on my own. Then I'm good. Then I'm good to go. It's that initial fear. So if we take those tiny, tiny baby little steps, then our fears will, they'll subside a little bit. I mean, part of our fears, I think, is lack of knowledge, lack of education, lack of knowing what's out there, fear of what other people's responses are. If you talk to somebody at a place and they just blow you off, well, so they blow you off. It's really not the end of the world. If you're trying to get more business for your business and people say no, you may get 10 or 20 no's for something, but that 21st person might be the yes person. And that might be the person that you really want to have on your side. So I can't believe this half hour is almost up. I think new year, better you. You can change. You can make a difference. You can have more hope. You can make your life better. I really, really believe it. But sometimes it makes hard decisions. You have some decisions to make. And sometimes if you don't want to be in the same spot today or next year as you are today in 1 year, then some of these things, it might be in your best interest to step out a little bit and make some of these changes. They're small, they're little, you can do it, anybody can do it, absolutely. It's just the willingness and I guess the commitment to yourself to know that, hey, in 1 year, if I go to school now and I sign up for a couple classes now, in a year, I'm gonna be halfway done with my program. One of my best friends, she's going to nursing school. She's 54 years old and she just started nursing school. And I'm like, oh, I love it, because you're never too old. You're never too old and you're never too whatever to do what you want to do. So I encourage you, I really encourage you to make those small steps. Make that phone call, ask for help, go at it alone. So many things, do the right thing and you will move forward and you'll be happy you did. So until next time, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, better you next year, this year. Just keep at it. Thanks so much and see you next time. Bye.